What's up, everyone? Toshi here. Today we'll be talking about Luocha and how he's probably going to be a really good character. Now, we did talk about him in previous videos, and in those videos, such as the one where we went over every character that got changed before the actual live servers hit the game, right? So it was like a huge patch for every single character in Honkai Star Rail. Pretty much, they got a tweak and change, and Luocha was one of the characters that pretty much got a full round rework in a sense. Now he is a different character than kind of how he was before, and I know that he probably did get even more changes at the time of recording this. I have not been looking at leaks as much as maybe you have, so you probably know more than I do when it comes to Luocha. But I'm pretty sure the core fundamentals of the character probably stayed the same. And what I mean by that is we'll get into it in this video. So Luocha was known for pretty much being a strong attack scaling healer. So he's just like Bailu in a sense where you kind of want all your allies to stay relatively high on HP, and he was no exception, but he scaled on attack, which made him a lot more different from a character like Bailu. The reason why I say that's really different is because you have to take a lot of things into consideration. When you have an HP scaling character, there's only so much that the character can do. See, the thing is, in this game, there isn't any damage amplifications where a character does max damage upon their HP as a support character. But here's the cool thing about Luocha. As an attack scaling character, most of the attacks in the game scale based off of attack. That's say attacks, most of the skills in the game, ultimate elemental skills scale based off of attack damage. Luocha is going to be built primarily on attack. And what makes him really special compared to a character like Bailu is, well, the character will have a lot more damage putting out on the field as a sole healer. See, the thing is about Bailu, the problem is this character you can build with a ton of HP, and you get a lot of value because she does scale more heals off of HP. That's pretty much where the character stops. She does have a revive, which is very valuable because no other character in the game can kind of save you from making mistakes. Me, I make tons of mistakes, so that's probably why I use this character a lot. And you can't really do that with any other character in the game. Now, I do equip her with Luocha's 4-star Lycon, which is funny enough because this probably is what you want to use on Luocha because you do want to resist debuffs. I think any support and any healer, I would say any cleanser like Bronya, you probably do want to build with resistance. Now, this will be in a future video. We'll talk about this, and I'm really excited to talk about Bronya and how I'm personally going to build her, but that'll be a different video. But Bailu, this character you probably build with resistance because you want her to resist debuffs, right? Debuffs are very prevalent in the later stages of Forgotten Hall. You don't want her to get imprisoned. You don't want her to get the quantum effect. I don't remember what it's called. But any type of healer cleanser, you want to have resistance because if they are debuffed, if they're stunned, if they can't move, well, essentially, you can't heal your other allies. So this character is pretty much dead weight on the team. And Luocha is a very interesting character. Now, if the character is still the way he was previously, like I said, he probably could have changed, and you maybe know more than I do. But if he still has built-in crowd control resist like he did previously, then he's going to be a really strong and very easy to build character. At that point, if you have the resistance, you have the attack scalings, you probably give him a little bit of HP so he doesn't get one shot. I know there was a mechanic previously where the character was not able to be one shot. The enemy could only do like 50% of his max. He was like 50 or 40% of his max HP, which is pretty damn strong if you consider the fact of the matter is you don't want your characters or your healers to get one shot anyway. So you can kind of build him squishy so where he can tank hits and he can still put out tons of healing, keep himself relatively healthy as well, and make it to where he never dies or gets debuffed. But if that was removed entirely from his kit, and then that very much could so be the case. It's been a while since we made the previous video where we went over every character and all the stats and all the changes from the CBT to the launch of the game. But if that effect went away to where he cannot be one shot, you definitely will build him a lot more different than you would previously. Now, he is going to be a character you can build with DPS because he scales based on attack. If his skills are based on attack, then you give him crit rate, crit damage, and he will put out a decent amount of damage on the field. I believe this ultimate did do damage. I'm not too sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then his basic attack did damage. His elemental skill healed. I remember that. We did get to play with him in the trial run. If you played all the way up to the Luocha, you played up to the Zangsho Luofu, right? That part of the game, the story, then you were able to play with Luocha alongside Su Shang and Den Heng. You remember that part of the game. And with that being said, he's going to be a very, very valuable character. I definitely do want to pick him up on this account, only because having another 5-star healer would be nice, and having a male character finally on the account that able to actually play with, that is a premium character, would be very nice. Aside from Dengheng, I am starting to build him, and I think he's a very valuable character. But you see where I'm trying to go with this. Toshi has a very refined, specific taste when it comes to his I don't know why I said that. He's going to be a very nice character to have on any free-to-play player's account just because of the value he brings to your account and longevity. I don't know why Bailu's flying off the screen here. Um, but I personally will be trying to pick him up, assuming I get Silver Wolf and I get lucky. I think he'll be a very nice character for any light spinner, any free to play, even whales. Apparently, from what I heard, one of you, GTX, you mentioned that his constellations allows him to give more damage amplifications to his allies. I think that's really valuable. And one of the things I always talk about every single video where we go over character, that lady's really tall compared to Bailu. Over any character, we kind of go over, entirely overviews and stuff like that. Constellations are pretty expensive, okay? And spinning in this game can get really expensive really fucking quickly. If you played Genshin Impact, you know exactly where I'm going with this. If you spent in Genshin Impact, you know how fast it is to spend $1,000 in that game. And that's really bad. I don't want to kind of promote gambling addiction. I think it's awful. I don't want to see anyone spend money on this game personally, aside from the monthly and the BP. If you choose to spend money, then by all means do it. That's probably why I don't go over Constellations in the first place, because I know a lot of you are probably around my age too, and money is very valuable. I don't think anyone should be spending money on gacha games, me personally, but Constellations probably do buff the damage amplifications of the character and the whole team, which is very nice. That makes him a very valuable support character. That because Bailu already has a damage amplification with her Light Cone and with her Constellation 4. But that's pretty much all it comes down to when you have the character. Now, these are things you probably will unlock alongside the way whenever you do reach maybe 2 years into the game's life cycle and you constantly lose your 50-50. I forbid this, but you constantly use your 50-50. Maybe you get this from the standard banner, and then you have a C4 Bailu, and then you give a 30% damage amplification to your but essentially what I was saying before is you have a 30% damage increase for the allies, which is pretty massive. Considering, well, if she's just a healing, that's kind of all the value you get out of the carrier. Anyways, is the healing and the revive she provides. Well, being able to buff the damage as a support character will add a lot more value to your team comps. And if Luocha is going to do the same thing with his constellations, then great. I think that will be even better. I think that will make it to where he's a much valuable character for your account in the long term. But I do not promote people going for constellations in Honkai Star Rail or any other gacha game. I think you are probably shooting yourself in the foot because, there will come to a point where you probably stop playing the game, sadly, and I hate to say that, but it's honest truth. And I don't want you to have sunk cost fallacy because that exists with gacha games. And gambling addiction is a very real issue. That's pretty much why I don't go over constellations and why I refuse to go over them for Silver Wolf. Now, the cool thing is, if you probably have this 5-star light code, which is Bailu's best in slot, you could probably still put this on Luocha. Now, of course, the character does scale with attack, and it really doesn't add more value to that character because his healing is based off of attack. You can still put it on him. You'll get more HP, which will make the character a lot more, I would say, relatively harder to kill. Considering he doesn't have, let's say he doesn't have that one-shot thing in this kit anymore, then this would help his survivability. But aside from that, you still put out a lot of more healing with the outgoing healing bonus. You do have the stats increase, which is very valuable. Keep in mind that the base HP of this weapon could be higher than the base attack, rather than some other weapons for DPS characters that have higher base attack than higher HP, just because it is primarily for HP scaling characters, okay? That's why the HP flat would be higher than the flat attack normally, only because it is primarily for HP scaling healers. But the damage amplification that you would provide here is really massive, considering, well, that's a 30% bonus of the recorded outgoing healing. And we know Luocha is going to do tons of healing out the wazoo. And the more healing you have, the higher this can go. You wouldn't go wrong for going for Luocha because you would have a lot more value using this on the character. Anyways, this is going to be the video here. Thank you all for watching. I hope you got something out of this. And let me know if you're going for Luocha and Honkai Star Rail. I think he's going to be an amazing character, and I definitely will try to go for him, assuming I win my 50-50, maybe even get Civil Wolf early. Maybe his light cone buffs him even more, and his light cone allows him to be a crazy attack scaling, healing, damage amplification, buffing, killing machine. If that's the case, then cool. But I always advise to go for new characters over light cone, stuff like that. Thank you for watching, and have a nice rest of your day. Peace.